I discovered that I was not doing the weaving correctly, so I frogged back, and I don't even care about my lifeline anymore, to my lifeline, and I'm going to start with adding in the yarn. This is right before the pattern stitch starts for the front of the mitten. And I am going to post that mitten pattern online so that it can be viewed in case there was some question as to what I'm really doing. Because I don't really explain this, you know, where I am on the pattern. I'm just like, oh yeah, the next one's a knit. Alright, so I'm going to put the yarn onto the needle. Whoops, I don't want to put it on that one. I want to insert the needle as if to knit and then attach the back yarn. It doesn't really matter which way, I don't think, but I like having it that way. Okay. And then I'm just going to knit the first stitch. This is 5 stitches from the end. I'm going to use that to attach it. Now, grabbing hold of both yarns, both of the yarn that I'm attaching in the left hand, I'm going to lock that one down by bringing it over the bottom needle. This is part of the weaving that we're about ready to learn, so this is a pre-demonstration to it. Then knit a regular one. Now the next one you're going to lock down again, and you just bring the yarn over the top of the needle like that, the bottom one, and then knit. I know that's in the way. And then knit one regular. Okay, now you can't see that yarn anywhere in the front, but it's attached. Now what we're going to do is, starting the pattern, the first stitch of the pattern, and I'm going to place a stitch marker in here. Oh no, I don't. I have my little knobby thing here. The first stitch of the pattern is going to call for a contrasting color, which is an X, or filled in, I should say, on my pattern. So what we're going to do is just knit it normal. Yeah, there goes my lifeline through there. Yeah, that's okay. And the second stitch is a main color stitch from the right hand. So with the right hand, I'm actually going to knit 9. Now this is going to demonstrate how to weave. The contrasting yarn is going to get carried along by weaving it in as I knit the right hand yarn. So the first thing I'm going to do when changing color on the right is to knit one normal. You always do this anytime you have more than 2 stitches on the right hand side. The next stitch is to weave. Bring the left hand color over the bottom needle, then knit as you normally would with your right hand. Then knit one normal. Then weave one, bring the yarn over, and knit. Then knit one regular. Basically what you do is alternate between your first stitch in a series of more than 2 is always a regular knit stitch. After that, it's a weaving stitch, and after that, it's a regular stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I need 2 more. The next one's a weaving stitch, and then a regular knit. Okay, now that's how you knit a sequence of more than 2 on the right hand. Now in order to do it on the left hand, it requires a bit more intricate work. This is, I don't know what else to call it, so I'm calling it the pretend stitch, as demonstrated on that video that's on the page there. This one's going to require me to knit 7 stitches from the left needle. So the first stitch when I change is just a regular stitch. The second stitch is a pretend stitch, and I'm just going to kind of do this and say it because I have too many needles in the way. You pretend with the right, follow with the left. Unpretend with the right, and pull the yarn through. I know that was fast, so that's 2 stitches in the contrasting color on the left hand. The third stitch is going to be a regular stitch. The next stitch is a pretend stitch. You pretend by inserting the needle as if to knit. With the right yarn, pretend like you're going to knit. The left yarn, follow the right. unpretend the right hand, and pull the yarn through. Then a regular stitch. Oops. There's light line again. A regular stitch. Then a pretend stitch. Insert the yarn as if to knit. Insert the needle as if to knit. Pretend to knit with the right. Pretend to knit with the left. Unpretend with the right. And pull the yarn through. Then a regular knit stitch. And I now have 2, 5, 7. That's how many I need. Then after that, I go back to knitting multiple stitches on my right hand. So the first stitch is a knit, always, then weave. 2, regulars, 3, a weave stitch is 4, and a regular stitch is 5. Now I need 9 stitches on this with the brown. So 6 is going to be a weave. This is a little difficult on the change of the DPNs here, so pull it tight. And then a regular stitch. Makes 7. A weave stitch makes 8. And a regular stitch makes 9. Then I'm going to do 1 in the contrasting color. Now that completes the front of my pattern, so I'm going to put a stitch marker, which is just a little loop of yarn there. They actually sell them, which I have some of those, but yarn actually works better sometimes. Okay, so the first 2 stitches of my of the palm are going to be in the contrasting color as well. So since I already have 1 off the left needle, I'm now going to need to do the pretend stitch. So I insert the needle, pretend as if to knit, pretend as if to knit, unpretend, and pull the yarn through. The third stitch is a regular stitch. Then main color, then 2 in contrasting. 1's a regular knit, then a pretend. Then a brown. And you just keep working your way across like that. And I'll show you what it looks like more after I get the next couple rows in. There's 3 stitches from the end here. I'm going to place another marker, and that's going to mark where the thumb is going to be, where we're going to make increases for the thumb in a few rows. So until then, continue in this pattern, working rows, finishing row 1 and working rows 2 and 3.